Alright, Shalom, Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai Barakatah, all praise unto Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai, double honors the apostles of great millstone, and honors you brothers that have been pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, so back out here through the spirit Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai. Okay, we're gonna get into some scriptures, some prophecies, okay, to some judgments. Alright, because there's gonna be a lot of judgment being played out pretty soon. You can see the thing with the hurricanes. The scriptures talk about how that the eye of the Lord is within the hurricanes, and that's a certain amount of judgment that the Lord is allowed to go out there as a result of the iniquity that's been abounding, right, with the devil, the deceiver, being in rulership. That's the house of the Edomites. Okay, so you're seeing judgment being played out there. You know, ultimately that's going to culminate in the ICBM nuclear missiles being passed forth from these different countries, man. And what's known within the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, is the judgment day. Okay, so all of these are things is going to play out. I was going to start with a scripture, okay, within the book of Deuteronomy, the 13th chapter, dealing with the idols of this world. Okay, because we know from the history how that these different empires, barring the rulership that was underneath King David, have all ruled in witchcraft and wickedness. They've ruled pushing forth idolatry, okay, and really the fruits of idolatry is destruction, okay. So it's dramatic irony, because you got it to where now you got the rulers that are right now, they've amalgamated the ideas, the doctrines, the idolatry of these different nations, the heathen nations, whether it was the Medo-Persians, whether it was the Egyptians, but we know predominantly it was the Babylonians that they have copied their witchcraft from. The book of Isaiah, the 47th chapter, goes into that, okay. But now you got it to where the whole world is underneath the whole vibration of idolatry. So it's not dramatic irony, but it's the result of that was going to be death and destruction. And we're going to read about all of these different things within the scriptures. I'm going to show you that the future that you got out here within this whole geopolitical stratosphere, okay, this whole so-called tensions and so on and so forth that you got out there, not tensions between North Korea and all of that. The scriptures don't really talk about that. Okay, the scriptures, however, talk about rumors of wars. Okay, so the whole thing with North Korea is fulfilled within the thing of rumors of war, spoken about within the book of Mark, the 13th chapter. But when we're talking about the value of decision, okay, how that the Most High was going to put the spirit within the Russians to come up against the Americans, wherewith it's spoken that there is Gog and Magog, and I might get into some of these prophecies a little bit later on, and how the Most High was going to put hooks within the jaws of Russia, and they was going to come up against America. That's biblical prophecy right there. And when you go into the understanding of what these nations represent, okay, those are two heads of the same household. Okay, those are two nations, as it were, of the same household. That's why the scripture talks about, if a house be divided up against itself, how shall it stand? Okay, the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, tells you about how Esau, when he was going to come into power, let's go to it right quick. When Esau was going to come into power, there was going to be parts of iron, okay, and the other parts was going to be of miry clay, so they was going to be weak, all right, and he was going to have these divisions of badly distributed power and wealth, which was going to cause schisms, all right, and divisions, and ultimately those divisions and those schisms within Esau's infrastructure was going to be his demise. Okay, so let me start off within the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, then I'll go to Deuteronomy, and then we'll kick it off from there. So this is going to be in the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter right here. See if I can get the exact scripture. I'll start from the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, and I'll start from the 29th verse. It says, "As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into my mind upon thy bed." Right? What should come to pass hereafter? So if I remember the whole history behind this whole scripture, okay, you had it to where there was a dream that was dreamt, and that was going to be the prophecy of all these kingdoms that was going to come after. Okay, now we're going to go into the book of Numbers, the 24th chapter, and you're going to see all of these kingdoms that was going to come after, and ultimately Esau and Amalek being in rulership right now. That was going to go all the way back into fulfilling what happened when Israel came out of the land of Egypt. They wanted to go through by way of the Silk Road. Is it the Silk Road? Okay, by way of the King's Highway into the through Amalek and go into the Promised Land, but it denied them thereof. Okay, and then you had it to where Saul was going to say, look, Saul was supposed to kill all of them Amalekites off for the act, but he didn't do that because it was biblical prophecy that they was going to be destroyed in the times that we're living in right now. So it's fitting that they're the ones that are in rulership right now. Okay, it ain't you. It's not a thing of you go what's this guy Trump in ruling, or whoever's ruling places like Germany, France, and England. Those are not the real rulers. Okay, the real rulers are the guys that are making and printing money. Okay, the bankers, they're the ones that are in control of everything that's happening upon the face of the earth right now. Okay, and when you trace their lineage, when you trace their history, that's the house of Amalek. Okay, and they're the ones that are playing these nations off of against each other to the end that they want to depopulate the earth for their own benefit. But what they're going to do is they're going to start the depopulation, the cleansing of the earth, as it were, right? By which the Most High is going to bring forth upon the face of the earth. And we know that's scriptural, because when you go into the scripture says that within the book of Second Ezra, how that a man's going to desire to see another man's face, because there's going to be such scarcity, right, of the population left when the Most High does this judgment. Okay, this is the book of Daniel again, the 2nd chapter, and this is the 30th verse. It says, "But as for me, this secret is revealed, right, to me for any wisdom that I have more than any living, but for their sakes, right, that thou shalt make known the interpretation to the king, that thou mightest know the thoughts of thine heart." Okay, it says, "Thou, O king, sawest, and behold, a great image. This great image, whose brightness was excellent, and stood before thee, right, and of the form thereof was terrible." Okay, so it goes into it. It says, "The head thereof was of fine gold, and his arms was of silver, and his belly was of and his belly and his thighs of brass, and his legs of iron, and his feet as of iron, and of part iron and part of clay." So we're existing in this part iron and part clay kingdom. Okay, this divided kingdom. Okay, you got the Spanish over there, they're weak, the French are weak now. Now when you go into the history, you know about the Spanish naval, Spanish naval history, the French naval here, they was doing things. Okay, they was doing big things back in the day. Right up until the inception of America, you had it to where you had certain, what you know as a naval things that happened. I forget the exact technical term. Naval expeditions from Spain, from France. Okay, going out there into the Americas and setting up in America. And when America became the strongest, the biggest dog, all right, in the park, okay, the biggest dog in the playground, then you had it to where these other nations like France and Spain and so on and so forth dwindled. Also, you got it to where you got Germany. Germany is a strong one. Okay, you got it to where Britain, to all intents and purposes, is strong, relatively speaking, to places like Portugal and so on and so forth. So you had it to where you got some of these kingdom is strong and other parts is weak, which was going to cause divisions. Okay, let's carry on now with this. It says, this is the 34th verse, Daniel 2:34. It says, "Thou sawest till the stone was cut out without hands, which smote the image, right, and his feet that were of iron, right, and of clay." And this stone right here is talking about how the Lord was going to cast that great millstone up against Babylon, man. Okay, so here it is, you're reading in Daniel, but really what we're reading within the book of Daniel, it was what's going to happen within the times that we're living in right now. Let me see if I can get that right quick within the book of Revelations. Okay, I believe it's in the is it the 18th chapter? Okay, so bear with me just a second. I should know this scripture off the top of my head. My apologies. Okay. If I got it notarized on there. Okay, but pretty much what you see within the book of Revelations, it says how that he saw an angel take up a great millstone, right, and cast it up until cast it upon Babylon. Okay, and that was all prophesied within the book of Daniel that we're reading about here. How the Babylonians was going to raise up and they was going to rule for a period of time. Then the Assyrians was going to raise up and they was going to rule for a period of time. The Medo-Persians, and then subsequently out of the Medo-Persians, you had the Greco-Roman Empire. And after the Greco-Roman Empire, you have what was known as the Byzantine Empire, 1,000 years of where the scriptures within the book of Revelations, where it talks about the beast was going to go into the Caucasus Mountains. It was going to be quiet for a period of 1,000 years. Then they was going to return as this kingdom of part iron and part clay, and they was going to rule. But ultimately, through that division, their power was going to be fractured. Okay, and that fractured infrastructure was going to mean that they was going to last for a long time. But also too, you got into where this is a wicked kingdom. So if it's a wicked society, if it's a wicked kingdom, well, we know through the book of Amos, the 9th chapter, that a wicked kingdom wasn't going to last for a long period of time. Okay, so let me see if I can still quite quickly find the scripture I don't want to slow down too much. Okay? I don't want to slow down too much.
It was lovely to walk today. It was really nice.
Okay, I'll read this. This goes into what I said a little bit earlier on. This is Revelations 20:1. It says, and I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit, which is out there within Georgia. Okay, out there within the Caucasus Mountains. Okay, you read about the book of Job, the 30th chapter, how that Esau was pushed forth into these different areas of non-mineral resources. There weren't too much popping out there. Okay, then they got their strength back and started picking up stride again. So you had the Byzantine Empire, you had the Ashkenazi Empire, and you had the Arab Empire around about the prior to the inception of what we know through the scriptures as the resurgence to the Roman Empire. Okay, and then you had it to where them Edomites that was out there within Georgia and these places that we know as the bottomless pit because of the lack of resources, mineral resources. Okay. They done moved back into these different empires, that being the Arab Empire and the what was known as the Byzantine Empire. Okay. And by way of shady maneuvering, they're the ones that usurped the Byzantine Empire. Okay, and you had it to where out of that you had what's known as the Borgia family. Okay, the first Khan family. Okay, and then you had it to where Esau just spread out his wickedness throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay, so that's what we're reading here within the scripture. It says, and laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So that's the period of about 325 AD. Okay, when you had the Holy Roman Empire, guys like what's this guy, Constantine, the so-called Great. Okay, of which he was wicked too. Okay, but he was a Jake, and he was ruling what was known as the Holy Roman Empire because you had it to where Rome dwindled. Okay, they was doing all types of wickedness. Okay, they devalued their currency. Okay, and you had it to where the Rome. I think it ended with Nero burning the whole city down and blaming it on the Jews. Okay, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, which is another parallel that you're gonna have within this society. Here it is. Esau is the one that's really the problem upon the face of the earth. Okay, but he's gonna blame it upon the Israelites. Hey, what's up, man? Okay, he's gonna blame it upon the Israelites. Okay, so let's carry on here within the book of Job, the 20th chapter. Okay, I'm not jumping about a bit, but you got to see the whole entirety of the scripture and how all of these scriptures, the book of Daniel, the book of Revelations, all of these scriptures, they all tie into one simple thing. Okay, salvation for the Israelites, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the destruction of the wicked society that we're living in right now, which is ruled by Amalek. Okay, and we're going to see that within the book of Numbers, the 24th chapter. Okay, and we're reading a little bit about it within the book of Job, Revelations, and where is it? Daniel, the 2nd chapter. Okay, so it says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more. Because when you go to the history of Esau prior to 325 AD, when you had the Roman Empire transferred into the hands of Jake. Okay, through the talents that Jake had in terms of military, in terms of how to build a nation. Because the scripture tells you, it's not just a Bible that tells you, look, this is how you're supposed to be as an individual. This scripture tells you how you're supposed to govern yourself as a people. Now, you might have it to where these people are wicked. Okay, they might go off and worship other idols, but how to conduct yourself in terms of a lasting empire, well, that's part of our culture. That's written within the scriptures. So you had it to where as these different individuals went up as generals within the Roman Empire, okay, and they went up in the ranks. Obviously, their way of maneuvering was going to be more beneficial to the people than the Romans themselves. So you had it to where the kingdom was transferred from the Roman Empire to the Holy Roman Empire ruled by Jake, which later transpired to what we know as the Byzantine Empire. Okay, so you had it to where Esau was pushed out there into the mountains, right into the wilderness for that time of a period of 1,000 years, till now he's back in rulership since the about the 1400s. Okay, so going back onto this, it says, I saw the thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh, okay, and which had not worshipped the beast, neither had worshipped his image. And that's what they push. Okay, you go to the book of Maccabees, what does it tell you? It tells you when Esau was in power from the time of the Greeks, and the Greeks transpired into the Romans, when you had them in rulership, what was they pushing? They was pushing the Hellenistic way of life, the Greek way of life, okay? They had you worship their own way of life. Why? Because that will keep you indoctrinated and away from your true power. And in knowing your true power, especially for the Israelites, you was going to usurp them different thrones, man. So they went away from their they went made a great point, okay, of worshiping the way of Rome, worshiping the way of the Greco-Roman way of living. And that's the same thing you got it right now. That's why nobody's usurping what we know as Babylon right now, okay? But see, through the Spirit, Yahweh Shemi Al-Shai, you got to where the men of the Lord, they're pushing this word, and really that's what's really coming up and usurping the infrastructure of Esau's society right now. And that's why the scripture says that what? It says that I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, right? For the word of the Most High, which had not worshipped the beast, neither the image. Because in not worshipping the beast, in going against the grain of this society, what you're doing is you're usurping the society that you're living in right now. Now, we're not going to do that in a carnal sense, but when the Lord puts the spirits upon us, okay, when the Lord comes back, as spoken about within the book of Isaiah, the 63rd chapter, he's going to destroy Esau, man. Okay, and in destroying Esau, okay, he's going to set up a new rulership, and that's going to be spoken about within the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter. He's going to set up a new rulership that's going to be in righteousness. Okay. Let's see if there's anything more here. So let me just finish up this point. It says, but the rest of the dead did not live until, yeah, so that's pretty much it for the time being. I might go back onto that when I'm speaking about the Russia thing. So now let's go into the book of Daniel, back in the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, and back within the 34th verse. It says, and thou sawest to the stone where it was smote without hands, okay, which smote the image upon his feet, and that it was of a pot of iron, and break them to pieces. And it says, and then was the iron, the clay, and the brass, and the silver broken to pieces together, and became as chaff, right, off the summer threshing floor, and the wind carried them away, that there was no more place found for them. Now that's these different empires that you had, okay, the Babylonians, the Medo-Persians, the Assyrians, okay. The Egyptians had their own thing going, Tyre, Zidon, all of them different places. The Lord said he was going to take up that great millstone and cast it upon this place, and that was going to be no more. It wasn't going to be seen anymore. Okay, you wasn't going to have it to where you was going to have this resurgence of the Medo-Persian Empire, and it was just going to rule. Okay, you wasn't going to have the Iranians, which are known as the Persians within the scriptures, just ruling again. They was going to usurp, the rulership of the Israelites, and they was going to rule again. That's not going to happen. When you go into the scriptures, it says that they wasn't going to learn of war anymore. They was going to turn their swords into plows, roughly paraphrasing. They was going to turn their sword into plows and their spears into pruning hooks. So when we get into the kingdom, when the Most High establishes a righteous rulership, these people ain't going to learn of war no more. They're going to learn about farming, cultivation, okay? What's the horticulture? That's what they're going to learn about. Okay, fulfilling what is said here within the scriptures. But in order to do that, you have to take the beast man out of rulership. Okay, so back within the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter, and this is now the 36th verse. It says, this is the dream, and he will tell you the interpretation thereof before the king. He says, thou, O king, art king of kings, for the Most High of heaven has given thee power and strength and glory. Okay, in modern times, you got it to where Esau is the one that's in power right now. Okay, let's go into the book of Job, the 9th chapter, and the 24th verse, to back up that point right quick. So this is Job, okay, the 9th chapter. Okay, this is Job 9 and 24. It says, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. So the Lord gave this whole earth, this whole realm, into the hands of the wicked. How do we know they're the wicked? Because wherever you turn within this society, all you see is wickedness, man. All you see that's being pushed is everything against these scriptures. And you have it to where these people will have you swear on the scriptures, they'll have you swear on the Bible, they will swear that this is a God-fearing country, but when it comes down to the end-all be-all, everything that's pushed within the society is against the Bible, man. It's against the scriptures. Okay, so the scripture says that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. What did the wicked do with the earth? They did wickedly, man. To the end that the scripture says that if the Lord doesn't come back, there ain't going to be no flesh left to save. Okay, you go out there into the Atlantic Ocean is dead. Okay, you had it to where Esau, by way of oil production, by way of trying to sell oil to make a quick buck, he's been spilling all types of oil out there within the Atlantic Ocean and all the different various oceans, because they're all connected. Okay, the very air that you breathe, you're talking about pollutants being burnt up into the air. This ain't never existed upon the face of the planet before until the beast man was put into power, because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. You never had seen so much turmoil within the face of the earth right up until this man of death was put into the man of sin, the man of sin that's spoken about with the book of Corinthians, okay? Until that man of sin was put into power. Now you're having it to where the prophets are revealing this man for the devil that he is, okay? So it says here within the book of Job, the 9th chapter on the 24th verse, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. So he says, oh no, you're not the Israelites anymore, the Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. I'm the Israelites. Okay? By way of what's known as the North Atlantic, by way of slavery. Okay, they took their heritage from the Israelites, and they took their heritage for themselves. But now you go into where those secrets, those dark sayings that they have had hidden for generations, that's coming out, man. Okay, we're in the information era where anybody out here could be a scholar if they put the work into it. And what you find out is you've been living a whole lie, man. Especially you Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans. You are not a Negro. You're an Israelite. Okay, or specifically of the tribe of Judah. The people out there within West Indies, they're of the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, roughly, people move around and all of that. But that's a rough guide to these different nations. Now we know through the scriptures that all Israel was scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So you had it to where certain clans and houses or families might have intermingled out there within the house, amidst the Moabites. Now you got a whole massive seed amidst the Moabites. It's just jakes that look like Moabites. We know that. And the same thing could be said for all of these different nations. But for the most part, the Negroes was going to be Judah. The people out there within the West Indies was going to be Benjamin, and so on and so forth. Okay? So now let's go into this back within the book of Daniel, the 2nd chapter. Now this is the 37th verse. It says, "Thou, O King, art the King of Kings, right? And the Most High has given thee power, right, and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, beasts, right, and the fowls of the earth hath he given into thine hand." And that's the same thing that goes for Esau. But what's Esau done with it? Nothing but wickedness, man. Okay?